2022, take it back to '01. Back when yelling "F" was shocking and fun. Back when Musketeers exploded onto the scene. Britney and Justin were in sync, know what I mean? Steven Tyler screamed he didn't want to miss a thing. Back when Carson Daly dominated the screen. Back a couple decades before I felt old. Before Janet Jackson had a whole nipple exposed. Whoa. Hold up, whoa Nelly. Dr. Dre is scheduled to be featured on my telly. This about to be the best, there's nothing you can tell me. A heavy dose of nostalgia, no better way to sell me. Just then, a panic falls. I think I need to get my friends Frank and Shannon call.
It's Theme Park Thursday Live with Dillo's Diz. Featuring Frank and Jen.
Hello, it's Theme Park Thursday live on a Tuesday evening here on the Dillo's Diz YouTube channel. Or if you're listening on the audio podcast, it's Thursday, January 11th. I am Frank. Jen is not here. She is under the weather. She's got a little bit of a little strep, I think they call it these days, on a rainy, horrible, horrendous weather time here in the Northeast all day long, pretty much. So thanks for joining us here on the YouTube channel, or if you're listening on the audio. We had a guest planned. The guest planned had nothing to do with Jen becoming ill. Jen is distraught. She's downtrodden. She's generally just been looking forward to this conversation ever since we were on with this guest over the summer. He's pretty much our Gary V here in the community core, the podcast community, the friends and family that we have made here since 2018. So I'm gonna bring them right in. There was a big news drop today, so we're pivoting hard into that conversation. And let's bring him in. You know him from Brandy and Dave. I mean, I think that's pretty straightforward right there. But I will always fondly recall right out of the times of the spring of 2020, Jen and I had an epic, lengthy, 2-episode worthy conversation with the Diz and That crew. So pretty much over the course of these 5 or 6 years, we have been very close to our guest here this evening. Please welcome, it's Dave. Dave, what is up?
Dude, I can't believe it's been 5-ish years. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. And thank you for the introduction. I don't know if I'm the Gary V of the Communicore, but I'll take it.
You are our
I'm just the one that tells you what to do, and then you do it. And I don't take my own advice, and I never do it. And then I see you guys just absolutely blow up. It's like, you should post every day, 3 times a day. Then you do it.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going way, we're going back a little bit, pre 2020. You were like the TikTok's the new hotness. Oh, yeah. And we were like, TikTok, and you were right, pretty much, is that it has our largest online presence, pretty much. And then over the summer, when we were on with you on your channel, you were like, just get the YouTube going, just get the channel going, man. Just do the shorts and get the sub base up. And by 2024 you'll, and I was like, no, and following that, I was like, it's gonna be spring. If we're on this trend, it's gonna be the spring, the way we're pacing ourselves. And no, before 2024 hit, here we are with 1,000 subs, which we attribute to you, Dave. Thank you.
I appreciate that. And honestly, I know I sent it over on the TikTok, but I do appreciate the shout out. Like, that was fantastic, and thank you for that. But like, it's interesting because since that conversation, the whole shorts thing it's really interesting because on YouTube you can now create 2 different avenues, right? And it's really weird. There's not a lot of crossover. It's real tough to get shorts watchers to come watch long form.
Yeah.
And long form watchers do watch shorts, but mostly on the IG and the TikTok. Although TikTok's becoming pretty saturated. But what's absolutely crazy to me, and if you follow any creator in any space, right? Like the new hotness.
Oh, here we go.
Is 28 to 40 minute videos. Have you seen? You've noticed this, right? Like
I have actually just recently heard of this time.
Nothing is short form except for short form. So now that short form has been driven into the ground, you better get back to making good long form content. Now, the only thing that we screwed ourselves out of is the fact that everyone has these they want little 7 seconds, 14 seconds, 13 seconds. So you better be changing up your view, whether it's a zoom in, zoom out, different angle, whatever, every 3 to 7 seconds. It's a lot of editing is what it comes down to.
No, and Jen had said this on the podcast, that she, I became obsessed with no, I will do the shorts. I will keep doing the shorts. And I still don't know anything about what I'm doing. But what I do know is that if my what is it called? The frame, basically, whatever you're looking at there, if I move the thing and it's a close up, or if it's a Disney character, I will get the views. If it's something in the distance and that's what you're looking at when you're doing, forget it. You're not getting anything.
100%. 100%. It's interesting, man.
Why can't I do something far away with a song that's trending? Why?
You mean like a non-character?
Like, what about a sweeping shot of Crescent Lake in the boardwalk and the swan and the dolphin and set to a Dua Lipa song? Why can't I get a? Is that her name?
Okay, so if you here's what you got to try. You got to try the sweeping shot, but it's got to be zoom in, zoom out, jump, zoom back, jump. Like if you did something like that, I'll bet you would get the watch time, get the percentage watched up.
I'm trying to make a Christopher Nolan film out of my shorts. I mean, come on, Dave.
Basically, yes.
So here, where we are is the slow climb now, because the plan was in my brain, as if a plan was going to work in this scenario, was I thought around this time we'd be like in the home stretch, like between now and March. I was like looking at March as kind of like that's when we'll hit 1,000 subs. And so I was like, all right, when January hits after the holidays, we'll start getting consistent with more live streaming so that we get the watch time up by the time we get to March, and it all coincide very nicely. Well, again, it didn't happen too fast. So now we're like, watch more live streaming. Let's do it. So I know you do a lot of, discussions with Dave and you have great conversations. Jen and I have done the conversations. Like, so what do you recommend there in terms of, accumulating the watch time, building the base of watch time? Because, we have a core here. We have a core watchers. We have people pop out in and out. So it always fluctuates what we have here on our live streams, but it's really the consistent, and I'm going to say it's hard for me because of my job and my working hours, but establishing kind of a base that's going to hang with you for the watch time.
So that's always the kicker, right? Like you get to 1,000 subs, especially now with shorts, you can get to 1,000 subs pretty easily. I don't want to say easily. There's a lot of work that goes to it, but you can drop a video, right, of something in the parks that people are watching on whatever, a quote unquote trending style video in the Disney community, and get the 70,000 views, and you're going to get 40 subscribers. So you can do that multiple times and get there and get to your target subscription, right? Yeah. But then you realize that doesn't translate directly to all of your other videos. And honestly, it's because you have people that are my son Dawson's age that are 11 that are scrolling through that. And granted, you have people like me, like I've started watching more short term or short form on YouTube. Mainly because YouTube is pushing it, right? Like if I'm scrolling through my For You page, what do they call it? Suggested page, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What the heck do they call it? Give me a hot minute. I have to say this correctly. YouTube's a real quick, the home page, right? So it's on your home page, and even on the computer, you scroll down and you have 10 videos, one's an advertisement, and then you get to a complete straight flat of shorts. And I have found out that the shorts that go there have nothing to do with what I watch on YouTube. What it has to do is I have scrolled through the shorts and something has come up and I've watched it. So it feels like YouTube is keeping this is what you watch in shorts, so you can watch it there, and this is what you watch long form, right? So it's really weird. Like there's this dude that I watched in he just popped up here. It's a hack on how to get your money back if they cancel your flight because you were bumped. And he has shown up on my shorts For You page, my shorts homepage every day for the last 2 weeks. Every day. But if you look at what the rest of it is Disney, it is Call of Duty Warzone, and it is prepping. Because the world's ending in 2024, so everyone go buy food, and it's conspiracy theory stuff. So it's been a really good run, and like the the Y files on YouTube. Okay, so I watch the Y files every week, and all of the everything else just pops up. It's like, you should watch this Y files. I've watched it twice already. I don't think I need to watch it again. So anyway,
please pay attention.
This is me talking around this whole deal, right? So it's tough to get that over to there. So how do you engage the people that are following you on YouTube when they're looking at YouTube? Well, it's the community tab. Utilizing the community tab multiple times a week will help. Telling them when you're going live, what you're going to talk about when you go live, using the interactive stuff on it. So a poll, a reply with a photo, doing something that gets you into everyone's YouTube feed when they're scrolling on their phone, and that's really where it is. You're not going to see it on a homepage unless you go to your community tab. But people do more on their phone than they do on an actual computer. So you're scrolling through. It is what it is. So community tab helps. Directing people here from other platforms, super tough, but you got to do it. And there's a way to find out. But the big thing is consistency. I mean, you said it. If you're going to have a show and it's going to be every Sunday and it's called Discussions with Dave, you should have that show. Now, the issue is I haven't had that show for weeks, and it's my fault, but holidays are holidays.
Life is life, right?
Yeah. But you got to end up, utilizing the community tab and then being consistent on when you're going live. The other thing you can do is drop more long form stuff just in general. And it doesn't have to be the 30-minute stuff, but long form's considered over 10 minutes. And if you go down that road, there's a lot of tricks, and it is a lot harder to grow a YouTube channel based on your long form content. And when you marry all of this together, you're getting the brand out, and that's more important than anything. So wherever they find you, cool. Right. It's really easy to get caught up in the, get to 1,000 subs. Get to 4,000 watch hours. And those are great goals. And I think everyone should have those goals. And frankly, all you really need to, if you're going to live stream more, is get to 3,000 watch hours.
Right.
And at that point, you unlock the members monetization, the super chats, and all of that, which a lot of that's coming on the back of YouTube really focusing on gaming, as being the new Twitch, right?
Right. Yeah. Where is YouTube with that? I mean, because obviously I know you had the Twitch for a while. Is it denting Twitch a little bit, or is it not?
So the big one that's denting all of it is Kick. You've heard of Kick, I'm assuming.
Yes.
So people basically took Twitch, made Kick, and they're paying creators 95%, 5%, as opposed to the 50-50 split on Twitch, which has always been the big knock that Twitch is. It's okay. you can gift subs, you can do all this, yada, 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 but you're only going to make half the revenue. Where YouTube's 70-30, which is solid. And frankly, it's the second largest search engine that you have out there.
Yeah.
It's
right.
It's
Yeah.
It's second to Google, which owns YouTube. So you have the integration of both of those. You have the fact that you'll come up on Google if someone searches for something that you're talking about. I mean, the biggest thing is staying on topic and having a good thumbnail, which we've done a really good job for the last 16 minutes of staying on topic of the thumbnail.
You're right.
But at any rate, I could talk about this forever. You know that.
No?
So I'll shut up now.
That's a good point. On and Dave, maybe you don't know this, but on Thursday, apparently, as long as everything lines up okay, I will be live streaming my first Peloton ride since 2022. So awesome. I don't know what the outcome of that will be, but Lewis and Jeffers are here in the chat going back and forth about it a little bit. But if I can start with that, there'll be some consistency, and then it'll be good 100%. For my body.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's crazy what you can do. I mean, YouTube, with the quality of live streaming on YouTube, it's interesting that the focus on that quality on YouTube should be a thing, right? But it's crazy because you can go live on Instagram and no one gives an absolute about what's in the background, what the lighting looks like, what like it's just okay, cool. You're sitting in your living room on Instagram. It's not a big deal. Okay. Yeah. So Dillo's Diz on tangent. Yeah, we call it off topic over at this and that. But I mean, the big thing is that you will eventually, if you live stream consistently, and I can tell you this from Dis and That because we did we haven't missed a Wednesday in going on 5 years.
Yeah.
Which is
unbelievable.
Crazy bananas. Right. Like it has to be up there. Has to be up there with the one of the most consistent shows. And we're proud of that. And we have created a community, and it's fantastic because of the people that are there. And we don't put if you watch the show, you'll notice we don't put a ton of effort we have a topic and then we don't talk about the topic. Like if we actually followed some of these things I just said, who knows? But the big thing is driving traffic to this. Like, can you do a couple short form or shorter lives on TikTok to get stuff over here? Can you? Because you should be able to on TikTok right now. Figure out how to have this get a streaming key on TikTok, have TikTok going at the exact same time that you're doing this, and you can multi-stream. So there's a lot of things you can do. I'm interested on this Peloton thing though. Like you're getting back on the Peloton for the first time, and you're actually going to show people immediately.
Yes, I want them to see me from day one.
That's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people talk about niching down, which you should, but I don't know. Thumbnails are huge, titles are huge, and that's just if you want to work the YouTube algorithm, right? But when it comes to this, it's I think consistency is going to be big enough in making sure that this is in a podcast playlist on YouTube, because I think that YouTube is seen, and I'm just going off the cuff here. Just if you look at what social media has been, Spotify bought Anchor, which is what I used to use, and turned it into Spotify playlist or Spotify podcast. And it's an easy way to do that. And then it's not that hard to get to a point where you're quote unquote monetized, where you can get ads, you can do your own ad reads, you can do Spotify recommended ad reads on your podcast. So like to get to that point, you're good. And then now you're utilizing Spotify, you're utilizing their ads that they want. So now they're going to push out your podcast more, and they're going to suggest this. So there's that component. And if you translate that to YouTube, they made a podcast category for a reason. And I don't know for sure, but I think they started pushing on the app or a separate app or the same app, the ability to listen to YouTube podcasts like it is another podcasting platform without video.
Yeah. That sounds right. But I mean, I think in the overall, like the thing that you said that sticks out to me, right? It's the brand, right? I don't know if Jen and I have directly said this to each other, but because our 2023 was took a bit of a turn for about 5 to 6 months, we were just focused on, we will release the podcast every Thursday. That is our goal. We will just, and we didn't have guests, so we, there was no expansion per se. Like, we have a guest, the guest promotes, we help, it all goes together. So we didn't have that. So we saw a dip, but we're also like, what are we trying to do? And it's just, we want to get them to know more people. We want the brand out there. We want people, we're comfortable in knowing that, I think at this point that, and I speak for, I don't speak for Jen here, maybe, people know who we are, I think, in the community, whether they listen or watch or anything like that. I think it ebbs and flows. I mean, New Yorkers, it's its own taste, I think. And, we just want to keep growing is really what we're looking for, which is a sign that we're going to be doing this for much longer.
Well, I think that I don't want to say cornered the market, but you found a great niche inside of the Disney community, which has expanded a little bit beyond that into pop culture, which is nostalgia, right? And everyone loves nostalgia, especially, now that we're all getting older, right? Like I'll be 44 this year.
Nice.
But like when people are away from the parks and want to have some semblance of exposure to Disney, they can. And if they want to have an exposure to old Disney, then they can. I mean, I think the big thing right now is that a lot of people have Disney fatigue.
Yeah.
In the community and frankly in culture at this point, whether or not, and we don't have to get into it, but whether or not you want to talk about it or bring it up in any content that you're making, there are people or there are things that are going on in the in America now, whether you want to call it the political realm, which I don't think it is, but in the cultural realm, that Disney has been a dividing and divisive topic for a lot of people, and it's part of the whole thing right now. And I think people are getting fatigued by that being a topic. Want to see, I just want my old Disney. I don't want it to be involved in all of this. This has been and I talked about this on Wednesday night, and I'm like, Disney's been escapism for a lot of people for a long time. We've been parks fans, and I'm not talking Disney overall. I'm saying parks. I've said over and over and over again that the parks when I go to Disney, I want to stay on property because I just want to shut off the outside world for this 4 to 10 days that I'm there. That's what I want. And a lot of people have turned to Disney as this outlet is something to grasp onto. And with the decisions that Disney's made, whether it's the fact that we need 28 Star Wars movies or Marvel has been, or they decided to quintuple down on Marvel, or the fact that they're remaking every single classic that's out there, or the fact, whatever it is, someone has had some hang up where they don't get to just have Disney as that fun outlet anymore at all. And I think that's been real tough on a lot of people. And I know it has for me personally, right? Like, I don't like some of the decisions Disney's made. I think the fact, and beyond that, if you're a Parks fan, holy hell, go look at pricing for next year.
Right.
It's tough. We didn't go in 2023 because we couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
And we're not, and we should, and I don't want to say we should be, but I mean, we do okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy to me, right? Like, so at any rate, everyone has had some semblance of yeah, I mean, everyone has had some semblance of a reason that they had to step back from it. And I think it's just it's an additional fatigue, and it kind of sucks. And honestly, as a creator, it's really sucked.
Yeah.
just because I don't have the fire, and this is me talking. I don't really have the fire to go create Disney content anymore. I'm not at the parks. I haven't been at the parks in years. I have a boatload of old video that I could put up, but it's not old enough to be nostalgic, and it's not new enough to be like, hey, check out this new whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm in this weird interim thing, which is why I've been doing discussions with Dave on Sundays, which is why I'm starting the Dave Rant podcast, which is coming out at some point.
Yes.
Because that's going to be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, and I think, it's hard in general. And, we can point the fingers, social media, the news cycle, whatever it is of the reasons. To me, I always go back to when I was a kid, and Disney, just barely had Epcot at that point, that people that like, oh, you're not going to talk about Disney, that's kid stuff. And so I was like quiet about Disney all the time. And it's interesting how then Disney became such a big part, where I do think it's really about the escapism. I don't think it's meant to consume our lives. No. And I'm not. It still consumes my life. It totally does, because it's been such a large part of it. But I do think that's where we need to. This is going to segue nicely into the conversation, since you mentioned 28 Star Wars movies. But
yeah, I got them lined up here.
Where we're gonna focus the attention. And me personally, and we all have the different things that we're bothered by. I just really have been hating on how Disney has been marketing things all this time, whether it's the new Percy Jackson series, whether it's Indiana Jones, whether it's Marvel. We I know when we talked to you over the summer, it was right on the heels of Indy coming out, but and then they dropped today.
I still haven't watched it, by the way.
You still haven't watched Indy 5 yet? Wow.
Yep.
I think you could be pleasantly surprised at this point, because there's so much hate.
Well, that's kind of where. So that really goes back to I didn't watch the Black Widow movie because everyone said it was terrible. And then I watched it and I'm like, I don't know what people were talking about. Right. I knew I wasn't going to have the expectations of Infinity War or Endgame, but it was a solid movie. So anyway, no, I'll be interested to see. I mean, I got takes, but yeah, I got hot takes.
Right. So earlier today,
but this is it.
We'll give you the fluffy StarWars.com version first here. Mando and Grogu are embarking on a new adventure to movie theaters, going into production in 2024. It's the Favreau-led Mandalorian and Grogu. Just to see what Favreau said here. I have loved telling stories set in a rich world that George Lucas created. The prospect of bringing the Mandalorian and his apprentice Grogu to the big screen is extremely exciting. There's your opening, your inciting incident, Dave. I will wind you up and watch you go.
So look, the only thing I'm bashing on right now is the name of the movie. If that's literally the name of the movie, it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely terrible. Just call it Spaceballs the movie. I mean, Mandalorian the movie. Whatever. I mean, any rate, look, Favreau's involved, and if you go back to anything, the Mandalorian was a thing and has been, and frankly, so Mando season 1, 2, and 3, I was a fan of all of them.
Even 3, you were all right with 3.
Yeah. Should I not have been all right with 3?
Well, I know a lot of people that were not all right with 3, and somewhat with 2.5, aka the Book of Boba Fett.
Well, but that was I didn't dislike the Book of Boba Fett. Could they have done more? Yes. Yeah. But if you remember what Mando was supposed to be, it was supposed to be an episodic Star Wars take on an old Western style show.
Yep.
It's what it was. And it was in season 1. And frankly, it was in season 2.
That's right.
Then we started having to put in this overarching storyline, which obviously comes out. People want to know what the plan is. I get that. So then you had Book of Boba Fett, which I think got a lot of hate. It wasn't great, but it was literally Mando 2.5. So cool. I enjoyed Mando 3. I liked the fact that it actually focused on the Mandalorian portion of the story that they're trying to tie together between this, Ahsoka, which I don't know why it gets it gets the hate that it does.
It shouldn't. I thought it was fantastic. I know people who won't watch it because of the hate. I'm like, you gotta give it a chance.
Yeah. I thought it was a really good story, and what is even better is you had Mandalorian get up to this point, and then Ahsoka got up to the same point. Because if you remember back at Star Wars Celebration in Europe in the beginning of summer, they said that they were going to wrap up Mando post season 3, Ahsoka post season 1, and Book of Boba Fett all in a movie done by Jon Favreau. And I was excited that it got to that. And then as soon as Ahsoka was over, they said season 2 is coming out. And I'm like, okay, so what are we doing now? Are we bagging the movie already? It's only been a couple months.
Right.
Or, okay, it apparently did well enough that, or they had more of a story to tell to get to where they want to go to put Ahsoka season 2.
Yeah.
Cool. And I don't like that. I think it would be great if they were going to wrap the whole thing up with a movie. But obviously they're not, because we have to continue everything, because it is a new universe in which they are attempting to create the MCU 2.0 with Star Wars fans.
Right. And I mean, I feel like that's part of the argument where, with the Marvel movies, and it's all, again, the umbrella of Disney marketing is what I have the beef with. They set out this timeline. They told you when all the movies were going to come out, but they didn't kind of follow through with the excitement of having a 5-year plan or whatever phase they're on here. And so with Star Wars, I feel like it's a lot of blue skying, they're just, and if something catches, I think they, as much hate as it got, I think there was good enough buzz to warrant, all right, instead of doing this with a movie, let's do season 2, because I do think, and I know how you feel about Obi-Wan Kenobi for various reasons, Ahsoka really did a great job of making you want to see the next episode. And again, I have a problem with none of these series, including the Book of Boba Fett, which was slow, but I still enjoyed it. My 7, soon to be 8-year-old loves these series, all of them. We haven't watched The Bad Batch, obviously, but that's what it comes down to. I see myself in her watching Star Wars, and like, how's that? What's better than that?
And that's great. And we have to realize that that's what they're going after, so that the kids say, hey, mommy, I want to go see Mando at Disney World. And then you buy the trip, and then you go to the movie and all that. And you buy all the stuff and the things. And I get it. It's marketing for what they actually want to sell. But so I'm with you. And I'm only saying this because I'm kind of like a stickler for the fact that, hey, we were going to do this and everything's wrapped up and it's to the same point in the continuity of this universe.
Yep.
And we're going to go to the movie. Cool. How are they getting back into the galaxy that they need to get back into? Like, that's the part that it's like, okay, you can't do that in 2 hours. I know you can't. You literally cannot. Unless you're just going to be like, oh, we're back. And that's going to be, and it's kind of like when the Emperor just, oh, I'm back. And you're like, wait, what's going on for the rest of the movie? How the heck did we get here? You missed the next 30 minutes of dialogue because you're like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's the hard thing where, conversely, my kid, when it was revealed of Rey's lineage, that was her Luke, I am your father moment. I was like, I can't believe this is your moment, because you knew who Anakin Skywalker was the whole time. But this is what's going to stick with you, is that who Rey's grandfather is. That's your big reveal in your childhood of Star Wars. I can't believe it.
Yep. Yeah. And dude, I have my own issues with episode 9. I think a lot of people do. I think, but
you know what? It's because I'm still plugged in with the cable. If it's on TV, I'm still watching it. So
yeah, I don't have the cable. I don't think I've watched it since I watched it after it came out on Blu-ray, not Blu-ray, but once it came out in streaming. I think I watched it once and I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. But like, So I get it. I know you can't. I'm excited for the movie. I'm excited to see Favreau's return to the big screen when it comes to directing something, because, he made a little movie called Elf. It was okay.
Yeah.
He's also made a lot of other little movies that are really good, like Swingers.
Yeah.
It's okay. So I mean
that first Iron Man movie, it's all right.
It's okay. He only created the whole MCU as we know it. It's okay. It is kind of okay at this point now. But yeah. So cool. I mean, I'm looking forward to this. Like I said, the name needs some work.
Yeah.
Because I could have come up with that, and I mean, you're right though. That's under marketing though, Frank. That falls under that. It's like, are you kidding me that this is what we're doing now? So.
And that's the thing. I mean, when Elemental came out over the summer for Pixar, a couple of months out, and it had like a slow build that it stayed in the movie theater through Labor Day. So when people were syncing it right away, it hung in there.
Yeah.
But then Disney Plus releases like a fantastic documentary around Elemental. I really enjoyed it. And I'm like, this needs to come out before the movie so that people get excited about wanting to see the movie. If they see the human's interests story of it that went into the making of this Pixar film, more people are going to be interested. And that is, I think the film benefited a lot because people finally went back to the movie theater with Barbie and Oppenheimer. But, that those things they're missing out on. When I was a kid, you got the making of Who Framed Roger Rabbit before the movie came out.
Yeah.
You got the making of Dick Tracy before. You got reasons to get excited for these things.
It's the only reason you went to see those movies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I mean, I remember the summer Dick Tracy came out because we went to Disney, and the only reason we saw it was because we were going to Disney.
Yeah.
And like there was a bunch of stuff on TV on the Disney Channel about Dick Tracy every 48 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Roger Rabbit,
relentless.
It's kind of like, so do you remember when the movie Lemonade Mouth came out?
Oh no.
The only reason I know this is because Gianna was very young at the time and she was watching a lot of Disney Channel. And for that entire summer, it was 3 weeks of lead up to when the premiere of Lemonade Mouth was. And then they showed it 87 other times. And all summer, all of the little cut-tos and the little were all Lemonade Mouth people.
Right.
Except for what was the wizard one that was around? Wizards of Waverly Place at that
point,
I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean there were a couple others, but it was there was a boatload of marketing around one piece of content. Well, let me read you the pieces of content for Star Wars that are coming out. Star Wars Skeleton Crew TV series. Again, Disney Plus 2024. Star Wars The Acolyte TV series. Again, 2024. Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 3 2024. Star Wars Tales of the Jedi 2024. Now, potentially you have Andor Season 2 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe early 2025. Okay. So the writer's strike and the Hollywood strikes threw a big wrench into all this. So let's take a step back and realize that they're going to get back on track. They're going to get back to where they kind of wanted to be. Stuff was pushed out 6 months. So kind of sucks. But like, here's what we have remaining, quote unquote, in development. Ahsoka Season 2. Taika Waititi's Star Wars movie, still in development. James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie, which that's Knights of the Old Republic, still in development, which I'm super excited about that. I like the fact that we're going that route.
Yeah.
Filoni's Mandoverse New Republic movie in development.
Right.
The new Jedi Order movie in development. Mando in development. Star Wars Rogue Squadron allegedly is out there.
Yeah. Right.
Which I'm super pumped for that. Did you read those books?
I probably only one time, but
long time ago.
Yeah, long time ago. Yeah.
Remember when you could go to the bookstore? Just stop there. But
I did remember the bookstore. I remember when Heir to the Empire and the other two came out. I bought those in the gift shop after Star Tours, each of the August 91, 92, 93. That's where I bought each of those novels.
Those are canon. Allegedly, they were. They're not anymore.
They're getting there. Thrawn. I mean, without those books, you don't have Thrawn. Yeah.
Without those books, you don't have Thrawn. Yeah. So I never read them. I didn't. But I remember going to the bookstore as a kid because we'd go to the mall and I would need to go do something. So I would go to the bookstore because when you're a teenager in the mall and you're 12 and your mom's taking your sister to go look at something, like, I'm going to go somewhere else. So I would go to the Book Nook, which that's an old statement because I don't think they're around anymore and it's only a central Pennsylvania thing. So at any rate, I'd go in and there was the sci-fi / epic fantasy or fantasy section, right? Yeah. So I would go there and I would look through those and I would find the Star Wars section. And I honestly don't know how many of them I bought. I don't think it was many, but I would go there and I would just look and see what's going on and read all the backs and do whatever and yada, yada, yada. And you kind of get a feel for it. But there was so much what is now just considered fan fiction. And it's absolute not fun.
All those short stories like Tales from the Cantina and Tales from the Bounty Hunters and all that.
But Rogue Squadron was always one because Wedge was one of my favorite characters.
Oh yeah, totally.
And if they did that, I would be so pumped.
It would be cool. I feel like it's deserving. I apologize to everyone in the chat. Jen usually pulls up the comments, obviously. You can tell by how few of the comments I pulled up here. But Nate's saying the problem with all the hype that was on Disney Channel back in the day is there were significantly fewer viewing options. More people saw that stuff because there was less to watch. I'm telling you, I've said it before on the podcast. When you press the thing for Disney Plus, show me a trailer that I can choose to skip, but get me hyped for something as soon as I turn on Disney Plus. You had Guardians and Elemental and the Indiana Jones and so many movies. How do you not put that up front and then content that's corresponding with what you're seeing in the first few clicks I'm putting on Disney Plus? You have a streaming service to hype your stuff.
So what's interesting to me now, right? Like you have people that are starting to saw an article about this, that people are starting to cancel all of their streaming services. Like they're just picking one. Right. And to this point, right now, people have looked at it and said, okay, if I want to watch sports, I have to get Fubo. That is $99 a month. After you pay all the taxes and everything, as much as they say it's $75, they're lying. It's $99 a month. So if you're paying that, you might as well pay $110 and get cable.
Well,
so
and
if you do that,
that's where we are. That's crazy.
If you do that, you're not going to pay for Netflix. You're going to pick one, and probably one at a time. Where it's like, okay, Netflix has 9 things I want to watch. I'm going to pay for Netflix for the next 2 months, and then I'm going to see what's going on. And then you see that Hulu has had 6 things that you want to watch now, so you cancel Net. This is going to be a thing going forward until they figure out how to package all this stuff together. And the issue is people are making too much money, but I don't think they're making as much money as they think that they say. Because so at some point, but hear me out on this. At some point, they will go to it's Disney Plus, but here's the Disney Plus channel, and it's on Disney Plus, and you can go there and you can click the button. It just runs through all the popular stuff, much like it did before, and you're gonna have some semblance of Disney-focused commercial stuff going on at that point. And they could do it now without thinking about it, and it really. How many times, Frank, have you gone on to Netflix and sat there for 25 minutes and then not watched anything?
No, let me tell you that, right? So Netflix is the one I'm like, I feel like it's the original and I can't get rid of it. It's like what you started with. And it's like, I can't, it's double the price now. But then like the past, it bookended our Hallmark Christmas movie watching, but my wife was watching Virgin River. She binged that. And I'm like, well, now we can't cancel Netflix for 6 months because we actually watched something that was on the streaming service.
Yeah.
And that's how it goes.
Yeah. Like I canceled Paramount Plus. That's the only thing I've canceled so far. And I have them all. Like HBO Max or whatever they call it, Max now. I have it just so I can watch Friends and Big Bang Theory before.
Well, it's like, am I going to watch Sopranos reruns? I know I'm going to go back to that.
Well, exactly.
And Paramount Plus, I was like, I'm going to watch the new Frasier, and then I was annoyed. So I only watched 2 more after the first couple. And then I was like, and then that's the one that, like you, is probably going to go, because I'm like, there's no real impetus to keep this one.
So there's like 5 really good shows on Paramount Plus.
Are you Yellowstone? Is that what?
Well, Yellowstone's not on it. It streams on Peacock.
It's in 1931. What is that?
1833 and 1927. But neither of those have I watched. Although Taylor Sheridan was just on Rogan this week, so now I want to go back and watch 1883 because I heard it, like, they were just raving. Rogan's raving about it. So cool. I'll go watch it. But they had Jack Bauer 2.0 Rabbit Hole. They had Spec Ops The Lioness, which is again another Taylor Sheridan show. And there were a couple others, and like I want to watch Mayor of Kingstown. I just never started it. So at some point I'll go back to Paramount Plus. But the only reason I got it was for SEAL Team. Yeah. So there's no SEAL Team until 2025.
Yeah.
So I said no. I canceled Peacock yesterday because I got Peacock to watch a Penn State game at the beginning of the year. And then whenever I was recovering from heart surgery, I binged The Office because I never watched it. So that was it. So now I'm like, nothing on Peacock at the moment. So I canceled it.
Peacock's the one I'm going to keep forever, because when they bought the WWE network, I started saving $5 a month. So it was $9.99 for WWE. It was $4.99 for Peacock. I'm like, well, this is a streaming service I'm going to keep for all time, because I'm saving $5 a month.
Yeah. But like, so you got all those, right? But then you go back to Disney Plus, and I guess to like kind of bring this back around is like, if you kind of pushed what I need to watch, except for a scrolling banner at the top, which everyone is doing. Like, what's a different way to market it, right? And I think I'm going to create a channel inside this. This is the stuff you need to watch. These are the eight shows that we're pushing right now, and we're just going to run them back to back. Yep. And no matter what, you could always just go watch them anyways. But if you have like I said, how many times have I gone somewhere and it's been 25 minutes and I'm like, I don't know what to watch. It's too many choices. So you just click on that and you're going through. And honestly, maybe one of them's a freaking trailer network for all of your stuff. And there's gotta be something where it's like, here's this, it's running. Even you can have it running while you're scrolling through, whatever it is. There's gotta be a way to push this content out, because, I frankly, I don't go to Disney Plus much anymore, because done with Mando, done with Ahsoka. I didn't really know much about the Percy Jackson thing. I don't know if it's any good or not. Is it any good?
I mean, my kid likes it, so I watch it, but no, it's just as good as the movies. Yeah.
Okay. So like, I don't go there a ton, but like, I still need to watch Andor. I haven't watched it yet. I just haven't committed the time. Yeah. But, I spend my time on other streaming services, and I might go to Disney, or the one time I go to Disney just to see, maybe I'll watch whatever. And they're streaming something in the background while you're flipping through. It's gotta be able to be a thing. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, coming back to it, Star Wars universe is getting pretty crazy at the moment. And, I think a lot of us nerds that are Star Wars nerds either were or have become MCU nerds with the big push of the, what do they call it? Is it the Infinity Saga? Is that what they're officially calling this first 3?
That sounds right. But
I feel that's right. So like, you remember this, right? I watched all of those movies in a month. Yeah. All of them.
Because I was leading up to Endgame. Is that, or leading up to Infinity War?
Yep, leading up to Endgame. That was crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think, you're going to make creative choices. You're going to take risks. I get that. But, I think I wish they would have maybe not tried to, to me, it felt like a restart after Endgame. I'm like, no, you did Endgame. No more phases. Think of something new. And I feel like,
I was okay with it because they have a story. What people don't realize is that, people bagged on the Eternals, right? Yeah. People bagged on several, like the second Ant-Man movie, like people bagged on all these. And I'm not saying they're great flicks, but at the same token, you have to go back and realize we're starting in phase 1, in phase 4. So Eternals wasn't bad, but it wasn't bad because people told me it was so terrible that when I went to watch it, I had no expectation. I'm like, dude, this is great. There's a lot of people, but if you watched it a couple times, you'd be fine. You know, you're good.
Yeah.
But like, so you had that, and then you go through all this. And once they really started throwing out that it was going to be Secret Wars and all of that.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't read the comic books. Did you?
No.
Okay. So I went directly to Wikipedia,
Mm-hmm.
searched, and I started reading, and it's, you know, I read the synopsis, and it's like blah 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 blah, and She-Hulk and blah 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 went here, and blah blah blah, and Floobity Floob went here, and whatever, right? Like I read through it, I'm like, this is an awesome story. I can't wait to get here, but we have to get here. But then, like, people bag on She-Hulk and bring the whole political, like, everything has to be a female character into it. But if you even took a second and went and read Secret Wars,
right,
she's a major character in it. So they had to introduce her in some capacity. Did they do it right? I don't know. I'm not the Marvel guy.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that,
but I feel like I'm the Star Wars guy.
Right.
But continue.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I think that, you know, and I keep coming back to the kid on this, so I don't want to be repetitive, but, you know, all of these things, I think when they are in their 20s, will be like, they're like, oh, I remember watching She-Hulk, and that was my thing. And just like they are about Star Wars prequels. I mean, I have a family member who's, you know, 17. The prequels are that's his baby.
Damn.
And I'm like, oh, gosh, I was like, I'm so much better on it now. But if there was social media around in 1999, 25 years ago, this May, holy cow, would you just see a relentless string of X tweets for me?
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's just so crazy.
Like, I remember going and seeing episode 1 and being super pumped that it was a Star Wars movie and being like, I don't understand why we started here, but it was a Star Wars movie and the music was really good and they blew stuff up and I'm cool with it. Yeah. And because I was excited to have one. And then we didn't have anything for 3 years. There's 4 things coming out this year. It's too much.
Yeah.
We're inundated.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you not, there is so much that going from caring to not caring is really easy because it's just, I can't keep up with it. And honestly, the Marvel thing, I had a buddy who lived down the street and we would get together and drink, we were both really into like we were beer nerds. Okay. We were into weird. So we would get together, have a couple beers and talk. And he was a huge comic book fan and his son was a huge comic book fan. And this is like, there's 5-6 movies out at this point. Not a lot.
Right.
And he's like, you got to start. Well, 2 years later, I didn't. And now it's like, Dave, there's 11 movies. You can do it. I have all the DVDs. I can hand them to you.
Yeah.
This is how long ago. You know, I mean, you have to realize that it was different back then.
Yeah.
And it's not even that long ago. So
no, and
all that went forward. And I got to a point where he goes, Dave, there's only 17 movies. And I'm like, no, I'm done. But then I did it. Yeah. All in a month. And it was ridiculous.
And I mean, and you know, you just got it's a muscle you have to work, right? But even when the new sequel came out, like, you know, I feel like the thing that did them in was dropping Solo in the summer instead of letting that be just do Christmas. You get Force Awakens worked, and then you had Rogue One. Everyone was still hype. Last Jedi, sure, it took a turn, but give it a little space and have the next one come out in Christmas time. Yeah, you know, because you knew there was already problems with the behind the scenes of Solo, and then do the Rise of Skywalker. And to, you know, when Mando, the first season of Mando came out at the same time as, you know, a month before Rise of Skywalker, you're like, all right, I could see it, like, you know, building up to this thing. They had that little connection with the healing powers, but then after that, just go, you know what? One thing a certain time of year. Let that be the thing. What was failing you about that? 3 things a year. Crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't know.
And then
nuts.
because you know, then it goes, well, how does it go into the parks? Because obviously Mando is what they want to grab onto, because they know money is in Mando and Grogu and the merchandising and all of that.
100%.
So like you got to figure out all of Rise of the Resistance because of this franchise. Like you got to do something about it.
Yeah.
You got to, and I have no problem with any of the characters in the sequel trilogy. I love that they walk around. I didn't have a problem with the Star Cruiser. None of that. I'm fine with everybody. But I recognize that your money is in Mandalorian Grogu. You got to start changing things over.
What I don't understand is that they didn't recognize that their money was in the original trilogy. You get told that a Star Wars land is coming and it's going to be super immersive. What's the one thing you want to do? Fight Darth Vader.
Right.
Meet Darth Vader. And I don't care what age bracket you're from. That's that. And
I will.
I'm just so here's where I'm at. And I think you're in the same boat. We were there opening day.
Yeah.
We get it. You go in and it was awe-inspiring. It was crazy to see a life-size Millennium Falcon. And it still is to this day.
Correct.
Always. But you're starting to see cracks in we are a functioning society. We are in this timeline between 8 and 9, yada, yada, yada. So here's my take. You can have that. Keep it. And I know you're going to hate this next part. We can call it relocate, but we're going to take out Muppetville. We're gonna take everything from there the whole way over. Are you going to be on the podcast?
No.
What's your take on Galaxy's Edge? Yes or no?
The ride?
Well, Rise of the Resistance, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so Dawson's all for the ride. Okay. So but you take all of that out the whole way over to Star Tours. And you turn that into basically Star Wars weekends all the time. Just a celebration of Star Wars as a thing, which would be awesome, because now you would have people who could go and meet Darth Vader. Because what I think that's like one of the top questions they get is, where's Darth Vader? Has to be, right?
Yeah, right.
So you now have Star Wars in that corner of the park. Cool. We can relocate the Muppets. We can give them Rock and Roller Coaster and make it Electric Mayhem, which I think would be a fantastic overlay for that.
Yeah.
And then you could redo that and have a Muppet / Pixar place the whole way up to.
And the thing I said at the holidays when Kermit and Piggy hosted this little thing there during the Jollywood nights is, hey, you know what? Let the Muppet. Listen, do I still think you need a theater? That you got to play the movie because Jim Henson's still a voice of Kermit? Yes. But, and I would say I could take it a step further and go, and then give me a Muppets, layover of Tower of Terror during Halloween or something like that, just to mix things up.
It would be awesome. Like, I like Tower of Terror, and I like nostalgically love the fact that it's still Twilight Zone.
Yep.
I get it. But like, if you like, you could theoretically do it. It's a retheme though, you know? Yeah. I don't know. Anywho,
I don't think it'd be that hard. Yeah.
My point is, you bring all this into the parks, and now you're bringing Mando into it. That's not timeline correct. For what they want, it is not timeline correct.
Yeah.
And they said they weren't going to do that. And then they decided to make money and have people go there to meet Mando and grow. So cool.
Yeah.
But you could do a very similar type land. Did you ever make it to Star Wars weekends?
I worked Star Wars weekends, believe it or not. That was when I was working at MGM. That was the original first, at least the first one for sure. There's a picture I have of Woody. And Princess Leia is taking her blaster out of Woody's holster.
Really?
I'll have to share that with you. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Actually, that's we made it to like one of the last ones.
Yeah,
and it was so much fun.
Yeah.
So much fun, and that was. Even though the dance show was ridiculous, or the dance off was ridiculous, and like it was fun. It's what it was supposed to be, and And if you want the immersive stuff, go do, I still think Smuggler's Run is a great ride.
Oh yeah.
I think it'd be awesome if they decided to, I don't know, drop a new video in there. You got to be able to do it.
Right. You got to be able to do that.
You've done it with Star Tours. You might as well do it with that.
Yeah.
Rise of the Resistance is still the best ride on property. I don't care what anyone says.
Mm-hmm. I think there is, I think it's not as difficult. My thing would have been, whether it was seasonally, whatever, that you could do, different timelines of Star Wars with on that planet. So you could change a couple of the animatronics in Rise of the Resistance. You can, change up the film in Millennium Falcon, and maybe that's it. And you could have it like this week. These weeks are original trilogy weeks. These weeks are prequel weeks. These weeks, and so you got Maul walking around some weeks. You need people to repeat. You want people to. That was the problem with that. My number one problem with Galactic Star Cruiser was like it's great for a year, but you gotta find ways for people to come back. And you could do that in a big immersive show. That there's little details you might have missed, but December being a life day on the Galactic Star Cruiser, I think people would have won for that.
Yeah. No, and the Galactic Star Cruiser, Jesus.
Yeah, the
Galactic Star Cruiser. Such a great idea. Totally missed the mark.
Yeah.
Price point was way too high. Way too high. I understand what they were going for, and I agree that the price point was reasonable from a Disney standpoint for what you would get.
Yeah.
But it didn't look like that way. It didn't look that way on paper.
Yeah.
You didn't market it as a cruise.
Here's Woody and Princess Leia right there.
That is fantastic.
1997, right?
That's so great, man.
And I think the price point, I mean, you know what the mistakes are, and when all is said and done, the 2020 through 2021 time frame, not great for everybody. So it is how it all went down. But I can't believe the amount of missteps I feel like the company has taken, and I'm not here to bring them down or anything, but it's like. I was like, it's right here. It's right here for you. It's right here for you to do. It's not much, I don't think.
They seem to be purposeful missteps, or they just have incompetent people. One or the other. You're either, and it's not the trying something new. It's not the whatever. It's just like, do you realize what it looks like when you're saying that it should cost $789 a night rack rate to stay at the Polynesian?
Right.
Even at 35% off, right? You have the capacity to get that discount. It's out right now through October, which I don't think I've ever seen a discount at this time of year through October.
Sure.
That is crazy bananas.
Yeah.
You can get it down to, frankly, the price of a high-end resort elsewhere, right? $480 to $500, somewhere in that ballpark, which isn't great. But if you're only going once every couple years and that's what you want to do and that's what you want to spend your money, I mean, look, if you have it, do it. I'm not, but like the average person that wants to go to Disney, you look at that and you're like, holy hell. The moderate resorts are $340 a night right now. Woo!
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, man.
It's pretty crazy. And that's just the parks. That's not we need to shove as much Star Wars down your throat as possible. We need to shove as much Marvel down your throat as possible. We'll just throw it up against the wall and see what sticks. We're going to remake every movie that's out there in live action. Okay. But why? Yeah. What's the reasoning? Is the reasoning really because you want every child now to grow up with the same with the same stories that we did or our kids did, but in a live action capacity?
Yeah.
Okay, I get that, but that's not how you're marketing it. You're marketing it to those of us, at least it feels like it. You're marketing it to people who are nostalgic for Aladdin, right?
Yeah. Right.
Well, and I think Will Smith did a fantastic job as the genie, and I think
Mhm.
he did a great job on that film. It's not Robin Williams,
Right.
but
No, and I've gone in. Yeah, I've gone into those going. Yeah, I've gone into those saying like, oh, well, my expectations are always low, and I come out pleasantly surprised. But the why behind it, I'm not
what's
quite
the
sure.
why?
Yeah.
Why you're not telling us? I'm in business. I'm in management.
Mhm.
When when we're rolling something out, when we're talking to our employees, the biggest thing we hit on is why, not what, but why. This is why we are doing this.
Yeah.
And it's received better. Well, why do we have 48 Star Wars movies or shows, movies, whatever? Why do we have Marvel coming out at the pace that it is? Why?
And it doesn't come with. You don't feel that they're being set up for success.
No,
You feel like they're just being. Here they are. They're just tossing them up.
Yeah,
I got you.
It's so weird. And then you got all the paycheck versus Florida stuff, and that was just a freaking poke in the bear kind of BS. And now you got Iger back in. How long's he gonna be there?
Yep.
It's a very tumultuous time everywhere, but even at the and I think this kind of goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. It's the reason, like, it's tumultuous in our spot that we wanted to go to for no tumult at all. Turmoil. Yeah, that's right. Turmoil. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, okay, that's right. That's the right word.
Yeah, I think so. And everything always calms down during a presidential election year, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, this year's going to be fantastic.
I know you love when Jen and I do this and point it back all the way to 2019. Before we go, you're thinking about starting a new podcast. What is it about? Beyond Frontierland? I do not.
What's Beyond Frontierland?
What
Maybe.
is-
No, yeah. Just over there. Maybe. If
Tell me what you're
think
thinking
about it.
Tell me what you're cooking.
I've done the Twitch thing, did the whole gaming thing. Still kind of do that occasionally. Play a lot. That content creation isn't necessarily for me in any capacity. But I need to get back on the horse. Obviously the needed to take care of my health at the end of last year.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really. I feel like you probably answered it 10,000 times already, but we didn't address it here. But you couldn't come to our community core meetup in Walt Disney World in September because you were having major surgery.
Because they decided to go Temple of Doom on my chest. That's what it was, basically. Yeah.
But you have rebounded spectacularly, as we discussed in agreement.
I have. We're doing well. We're ready to rock and roll. I mean, the big thing is that what do I want to create content wise? And it's not that I don't like Disney. It's not that I don't want to create Disney content. I love doing shows like this. I love talking about about the parks, about Disney in general. But again, it's not the escapism that it once was. It might get back there. I don't know. I don't think the magic's ever gone. Hey, dude, I haven't liked an Epcot show ever. And this one looks pretty good.
Well,
kind of excited for it.
Seeds planted.
Seeds are planted. So, I mean, we got a trip. Maybe the goal is 2 this year. So that's coming. But from a content creation standpoint, I need to get back on it. This Sunday, the plan is to get back to discussions with Dave. Focusing again, it's more of a pop culture-y kind of thing. Like my whole want on this whole thing is like, I like to talk about stuff that I like to talk about. So it's kind of what I want to do. Well, doing that on the Brandy and Dave channel with the potential colorful language that could come out, I don't think is a good thing. So I have the Dave Rant podcast on YouTube locked down. I don't know when I'm going to start it. Hopefully February. I feel like I got to put a few things in place first, just from what's going on. But we got that. Might ramp up Disfluencers again. We don't know. I'm really in a holding pattern. I should have spent some time while I was not doing anything else and thought about this. but I was sort of concerned about taking 3 walks a day and eating 200 grams of protein and catching up on every show that I hadn't watched.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So,
and deciding which streaming services you want to keep. Well, when you finally see Indy 5 and want to rant about it, I think you have to.
Ooh, I'm in for that. Yeah, I'm totally down for that. So,
but
cool, man. Well, I appreciate you having me on, dude. This was always fun. I'm free to come back whenever.
Well, and then that's the thing. It's like it breezes by. We can go back and forth for a long time. Obviously, Jen has to get healthy, apparently.
Of course, apparently.
But you know, we don't do it enough, and we should do it more for sure. So you talked a little bit about there, but do all the plugs, do all the things, all the places where we should subscribe.
Yeah, Brandy Dave on Instagram, Twitter, same on the YouTubes. You can always catch me on Dis and That Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Dis and That, DISNTHAT on YouTube. That's myself, Shep, and Steve from Steve's World, All Things Fun. Hashtag All Things Fun, technically. But yeah, we're over there Wednesday nights. We talk about Disney and non-Disney things and in circles. And we're about to start our 2024 Get Fit Challenge.
Oh,
so that's over on the Discord. Had some good luck with that. Have worked together.
Feel free to make fun of my Peloton rides on there if you want.
No, dude, we don't make fun of dude. If you're doing something, go for it, man. That's the whole point. Get everyone active and moving forward. That's all it is.
All right, man. Well, this is great. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Sorry I didn't pull up your comments fast enough, or with the my fingers don't do the talking very well. But Dave, thanks so much. Hang out here while I end the live broadcast, or if you're listening in the audio feed. Until next time, bye-bye. Deuces.